Hey guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So I'm here to do my wrap up for September. September was not my typical reading month, and for me, I spent maybe the last week focusing on other stuff because I was more excited about going on vacation. So I'm going on vacation, but I didn't go anywhere. Of course, I'm doing it in New York, and I'm doing all the fun things I want to do. And I'm also doing wearing what I made per day. So check out those shorts that I'm doing. I am not a shorts girl, but we're doing them for a week. So every day I wear something that I've made and add wherever I've been to. So I've done Brooklyn Book Festival, and I have some other events that I'm doing this week. So hopefully you guys are watching these videos because you're getting a video every day this week. I'm also trying to do stuff on the vlog. My blog, which means some of the reviews on this, I won't go in detail or say too much because I'm going to be posting a more spicy, because these books I don't think most of my audience will be interested in. Nevertheless, September was a good month. I had a good time. Was so excited about my summer project and reading, but I read some kinky books. I did. In kinky books. I'm hoping the glare on this lights is not too bad, but forgive me if the glare is showing up. I can't tell. So let's talk about the only physical book. All the other books I have read on my Kindle. Ebook was a thing. I took it with me, and when I tell you about the books I was reading, you're gonna be like, yeah. So let's start with the book that is my special read. This was a pick by a subscriber. This was from the jar. I haven't picked out October yet. I forgot to bring the jar with me, guys, so that's going to be a delay. But this was by her own design. This is the story of Anne Lowe, and this was written by Piper Yulee, but she took a lot of well-known information from different sources to make this to come up with this storyline that it is considered a novel. But if you try to dig up a lot of our story, majority of the information in this is actually accurate. This is the first African-American known designer, and she did not get a shine till after many years later. She lived until she was in her early 80s. She is well known for designing Jackie Kennedy's wedding dress, as well as the bridesmaid dresses in there. She also designed for many other well-known Academy Award actress, several and bigger events that's in a certain kind of social register. She often was described by these people in the beginning of her early years as the Negro seamstress, before they even gave her proper introduction to the fashion world with her name. I do find that the story in this is pretty sad because she was a child bride and she went through some serious things that she had to endure and come through, eventually. And so I really like that part of the story. But this, because it's such a special read, and just to find out how fascinated she was, that it made me dig. It made me get other things. If you saw my previous reel, you will see what was in it. And I'm also going to go see some of her actual real gowns. So this was such a personal read, and I'm so thankful for the subscriber who decided to recommend this. And it was in a jar, and it just happened to be picked at the right time. Timing was so perfect for this book. So if you can't tell, highly recommend it. And I'm going to be sharing a lot more about her throughout the rest of the year, and you will know a lot more. And I think she doesn't get the praise that she should have got. When you think of all those big flowers that you see people are wearing now, yeah, that's who made it a thing. And to think that a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. So smart. The smart was smart. It was fun. We're gonna talk about the first book that I got into. So now I am reading a lot of Alexander Warren, and I'm enjoying her. And so I pick Uncovered Truth, and it's a short novella, but it was perfect. This is like your Valentine's Day, your snow season kind of book, because it's a second chance romance between a young woman who had fallen for a guy she worked with. He was actually 5 years younger than her. So it wasn't that much of an age gap, but of course she was way into her career than him. She helped him, but in the process, she also fell for him. But she was also going through a change in her career. Not a career, in her personal life, as far as she was in the process of a divorce and trying to find herself, so she wasn't ready for it. Flashback years later, they met in the supermarket. She introduced him. He invited her to come over for watch the Super Bowl, and of course, it was winter. Storm came through. They got stuck and they rekindled. But then they also worked through what they had an issue with. I love this. Everything about this. I mean, I don't know. Something about Alexander Warren is really like clicking with me, that I want to keep reading her books. And this is one of those sweet, perfect, I cannot find any fault in it. It was just like well done, and it made sense, and all the things that was happening. It had smut, but it wasn't over the top smut like the next series I'm getting to. So I saw this book that was getting a lot of shine on YouTube, TikTok, and I was just like, okay. But it says dark romance, and the last book that I picked up that said dark romance wasn't really. No, these are dark romance, and it is called, the series is Salacious Players Club series. So I'm not going to go in detail because this is not going to be for everybody. So if you are not into what you call let me write a BDSM, yeah, kinks, dominant, rigor, dome and sub stuff, you could end the video here. Just end the video here. Yeah. Age gap, big deal in here. Poly is in here. The unthinkable, as in the grown-up stepsister now that you're eyeing, is in here. So these are 6 books in this series, and only 5 book is out. The final book comes out next week, which I do want to read because this is a character that showed up in all of them. And it's a woman, but there's stuff. So the reason why I picked this up, it was the highest bidder, and that was book number 5. So I had skipped, and it had so-called spoilers, but honestly I had no idea what the other books were about, so this didn't really spoil me at all. But it do give you certain characters who end up together, that kind of deal. And it was a huge age gap, that at the beginning I wasn't sure I was okay with this. But nevertheless, I still said, let me just keep reading. And then I thought about it. In my 20s, would I have dated anybody that was that much older than me? Like, at the time, probably was old, like probably my father's age. And I was like, yeah, because I did. I dated somebody that was 20-something years older than me, yeah. And I look back, I was not ready for that at all. But it wasn't a negative situation. It was actually a positive. And he was a gift giver, and he was come check on me, surprise me, that kind of deal. And I look back, I still can't find any fault with it. I think that conventionally people might find fault with that age gap, but I didn't. So when I was reading this, I was like, oh yeah, the age didn't really bother me. The wealthy stuff did, and some of the other stuff that was happening was bothering me. So you have a young girl who is basically chasing her mother's past. Her mother passed away. She's grieving, and in order for her to cope, she's chasing her mom's past. And there's this man wealthy man who left her $1 million. She doesn't know him, she's never met him, she's wondering why. And so in this story, you are getting how she pursued and how she put herself in a position where she fall for this man, and he has no idea who she really is or anything. He's going by how she is. She likes poetry, and she likes um she likes to write songs, and she's very passionate about that. There is a poem that is mentioned a few times. Oh my god, I cannot. I thought I wrote it down in here, but I did not. But there's a poem, and because initially I was going to do this review at home, so it's an Emily Dickinson poem that sums up their relationship, and I did not write it down. So I might just put it here just so you know what poem they talked about. And because it had poetry and how the chemistry between them, I really loved it. It is they met in a sex club. They met where she was working there. She was a bartender there, and he is a member there. He has his own room there. He's he's loaded, and so initially those kind of setup makes the book like really dark because of the background of it. But once you get past that, it's like, yeah. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna start over. I'm going to get to the first one, and I'm going to just read the series because how much I really like The Highest Bidder. I thought the cover was perfect for The Highest Bidder because he really he gives me the vibes of, salt and pepper, status, that kind of deal. Alright, so now let's see how the club started. The club started with 4 friends. Yeah, 3 guys, 1 girl. And they were a part of a company that went under. And they decided they wanted to buy this character in the first one, which is Praise. And this one is Emerson. And he is just like, I like kicks. These are the things I like. Oh, I would love to be a part of a club where I can have this kind of experience with someone without feeling shamed or people judging him or that kind of deal. And so they came up with an app first. And the app was supposed to like give you a sense of what do you like in that kind of environment sexually. And there's a lot of kinks. There's so many things that I never knew existed. Yeah, I was googling. I was looking up sites. There is a quiz one on a very known site that you can actually answer these questions. They kind of give you what your kinks are. And I was like, just for just because I did. I'm not gonna tell y'all. Maybe I could read the blog post. I'm alright. I started writing the blog post already. I just haven't put it up. I'm hoping to put it up before this video comes out. You can go check it out. So, but in this one, the reason why this one became forbidden is that Emerson fell for his son's ex-girlfriend. So there's an age gap, not as bad as the Highest Bidder. It's not as big as that, but there's an age gap. I think like a 20-year age gap, something like that. And this one you get to 19 years age gap. This one is become more of an emotional situation because they met by accident and they connected immediately, and then when they realized the connection, it was a thing of, oh wow. But this explored sub and dom relationship, and I like this in terms of when I started, it had where it talks about boundaries. It had where there was like a questionnaire of things that you would do or interested in doing, and things you would never do that is forbidden. So there is a clear boundary in these relationships, which is very much throughout all of them. There's also a safe word in case they're doing something that the other one is not comfortable with, and they can say the safe word to know that that's end of that. But it just shows how, okay, they have kinks, but how they fall in love. So you get to see how it's possible to have these weird kinks with someone and actually fall in love with them, and where it can be shut off when it needs to be shut off. It is like a private situation within your home, but then in public it could be a whole different scene. I thought this was interesting how it clearly gives you that, because sometimes these books can be a really thin line between you know, what is okay. There is that embarrassment, there's that humiliation, some of those things that is quite it's discussed in these books, and that's why I think I appreciate it. The book that was the most like uncomfortable, that it took me a long time to be okay with these two even do this anything, and that is Eyes on Me. And this one, I was just like, this stepsister situation. Yeah, she grown now. Yeah, I never lived together because there was the age difference. So you were long gone out the house when her parents got, when your mother got with the father. I had to think about that. But I still was just like, and then I was like watching other videos on here, and I find that other people are okay with it. There's so many books with that kind of taboo that I was like, huh? It took a while. It took a while. It took a while. Mia and Garrett. It took a while. And to think that he's also a voyager. And what makes him also interesting is that, yes, he part owns a club like that, but has not had any form of sexual intercourse in 10 years. 10 years. I'm like, how do you own and be around stuff and watch stuff and never do anything? And it was weird at first, but he conventional. He was the odd one out when you think of the group, because he literally wanted to find the one. And he did. It was weird, but he did. And then we have Give Me More, and this talks about poly relationship. And this is Hunter, another owner, and of course he's married to Isabel, and then his best friend Drake, and he wanted both of them, y'all. But he didn't know he wanted both of them. Yeah, and also this deal was coming out because he discovered that he's bisexual, so he didn't realize he was, and then he there's that flashback where he thinks of his father and how his father thought of anybody that wasn't straight. So that affected his mindset of why he never went after what he wanted, even though he owns a sex book, guys. Yeah. And then the last one is Mercy. Sorry. And this one, I was waiting for this one because I was like, I am over these older men and younger women. Where are we getting the older women? And of course, the fourth partner, and her name is Maggie, and she went for a younger guy, Bo, which happened to be her partner's son, which I'm not telling you. And the interesting thing about this is, it talks about a woman that's insecure, who's a dom. She's a dom, but she's insecure because of how she was raised, as in a religious setting where she was taught what sex means and what it doesn't mean, and she's never actually had one of those. And so when it did happen, it was shocking for her. She was discovering a lot of things about what she wants and how she wants it, and she went for it, and it was heavy. That's all I'm gonna say, because I think I said enough on this video on these books. But just know, these are not your conventional romance. It is romance. It absolutely is romance, but it's a lot of kinks, a lot of role play, a lot of emotional stuff, because I find that all of them experience something that make them how they are. And you think of grief in this, you think of loss, you think of self-esteem, you think of scars from their parents, you think of different things that drive them to want to explore in this way. And pain, there's a thin line between pain and pleasure in this, and why they chose that, and this is what they used to deal with life. Y'all, I did a research on this. I cannot believe I actually researched on this, because there's therapy that is connected to a lot of this. So I looked up what they use. I looked up sex therapy, different form, why people choose certain things. It was kind of interesting reading those articles. But yeah, I am still a nerd. I'm reading smart and I'm still finding some way to research smart. so, so yeah, this was an interesting month, and it went back to regular. I'm back to my classic. I'm back to more heavy literature and some maybe a memoir. I'm back. But anyway, I would definitely try to have that vlog up so you can get more detail of what I discovered and how I feel about in more detail about these books if you are interested in it, and to see why people choose this form of activity to cope with life. Yeah. Alright guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Alright. Bye.